All right, hey guys. Before I get started, I know we've been sitting down all day, so if you guys can stand up and stretch. You know, PTs, if you know, have to stretch it out. You heard that? How's everyone feeling?
Good.
Okay, cool. So my name is Jada Nicole Goodson. I'm a first-year DPT student at Temple University, and I'm also the first-year community outreach coordinator for the North Broad Physical Therapy Clinic. And I have a few questions that you don't have to answer out loud, but if you could just think about it and kind of hold on to your thoughts until the end, that would be great. The first question is, what does service mean to you? Just think about it. And how well do you know the area around your school or clinic? Again, you don't have to answer out loud. And another question, since starting your DPT program, have you sought out a local event or volunteered your services as an SPT? And I know during like the holiday season, your family might have said, oh hey, I have a crick in my back, can you help me out? Unfortunately, I don't mean that, but like actually gone out and help someone that you don't know. And again, you don't have to answer, but if you've never done that before, why? So a little background about the North Broad Physical Therapy Clinic. It was founded in October of 2015 and then opened a few months later in January of 2016. And we're located at Temple University, Jones Hall, 3rd floor at 1316 West Ontario Street in Philadelphia. And if you guys like cheesesteaks, we're very close to Max's Cheesesteak, which I think is the best cheesesteak place in Philly. But only to find out is if you come to the clinic and then go get a cheesesteak afterwards. So our mission statement is to provide student-run, faculty-advised, and clinician-supervised pro bono physical therapy services to the uninsured, underinsured, and underserved members of the North Philadelphia and surrounding communities. Our vision statement, to reduce healthcare disparities and improve quality of life by inspiring community partnership, mutual learning, and interprofessional collaboration. And while our vision statement and mission statement has not changed since we were founded, we do go in and revise some of the wording because our community is changing and so is the world around it. So for our board, we have 10 different positions, which include funds, marketing, outcomes, clinic coordinator, a client advocate, clinical mentors, which is someone who kind of schedules our, we call them CMs. So they're people who, when we're at the clinic, they oversee what we're doing. Student relations person, regional consortium, which is Hannah and Judy over there. I'm only saying that because they presented earlier. My other board members are here too. Operations, and last but not least, me, community outreach coordinator. And what my job is to facilitate and organize community events for patient education, recruitment, and interprofessional interaction, beneficial to future patients, communicate with individuals from various organizations and cultural groups throughout the Philadelphia area, serve as a liaison between pharmacy, medical, OT, and other disciplines. And what I like to say is I am the bridge. I kind of bridge the gap between Temple DPT and North Philadelphia, as well as Temple PT and other health professional students. Because as a physical therapist, and I'm guessing you guys are learning about IPE, like it's not just PT inside of a hospital or even really a clinic. We get referrals from doctors. So you need to know what the other profession does, and the best way to do that at the PT clinic is to have their input at our clinic as well. And as community outreach coordinator, it's very important for the North Philadelphia area to know the students of Temple, because Temple is right there in their hometown. We kind of go in and change things in the community, so they're kind of they're not really trusting of Temple students as much as I would love them to be. But if you go in and just say, hey, I'm here for you, then I'm hoping that one day the entire community will just know, oh, Temple PT, yeah, we know them, they're cool, they help us. So in order for me to efficiently tell you guys how we meet the vision and mission statement as community outreach coordinators, I'm going to take you back in time to 2017. So in 2017, Gabriella Kolakowski actually took the position as community outreach coordinator, and while she's not the first community outreach coordinator, she kind of started with the bare minimum because Temple's PT clinic was so new. She didn't really have any connections. Fortunately, she was able to use resources from other students and the person who was over her second year, and was able to, and our director, Dr. Mary Sennett, was able to give her resources so that she can make connections. Gabby is from New Jersey, and when she came to Temple, she didn't really know anything about being in the inner city. She just knew Temple, and that was kind of it. But even though she faced hurdles on how to connect to people and where to even go and where to start, her passion for service kind of overcame everything, and she did a lot with her position, and I'll go over that in a little bit. So when interviewing Gabby for this presentation, I asked her, why did you take the position? And here's what she said. In order to be the best clinician in the area, I wanted to understand what was around me. You never know the needs of the community until you're in their world. I wanted them to see the faces of Temple and know they were supported. So for Gabby, it was more so, it wasn't about her being a PT, it was about her spreading, I guess, Temple's love throughout the community, and knowing that in order for her, when she's done the program, she's not just gonna be with orthopedic patients from the suburbs. She's gonna be with patients who look like the people of North Philadelphia. And in order to be the best PT possible, she needed to see where they're coming from and what their needs are in order to treat them as best as she could. So the connections that Gabby established were connections with Temple University School of Pharmacy students, an appearance at Global Health Day. So Global Health Day is actually something all around the US, and I want to say globally, of course. But at least in Philadelphia, there's events that are held where a lot of people have community fairs. And so what Gabby did was she made that connection within North Philadelphia so that now every year on Global Health Day or close to it, we're able to go out and do blood pressure screenings around the community. And that also ties into the next point. Gabby kind of started our blood pressure screenings around the area. Now we go to different churches, we go to different events around North Philadelphia, and we provide blood pressure screenings, which may not seem like a huge deal because we know what blood pressures are, what they represent, but for some people, they have no idea what it is. And which is really disheartening because unhealthy blood pressures can cause so many things that could be preventable if people really knew how to take care of themselves, what to do to lower it, and what to do to prevent hypertension, and if you have it, what you then need to do to maintain or reduce your blood pressure. So now let's meet Hannah. She is the second year community outreach coordinator, and she's from actually Sweden, but she moved to Pennsylvania when she was younger. And unlike Gabby, Hannah does have ties to Philadelphia even before she came to DPT program. And she's always volunteered within the city. She's gone to homeless shelters, volunteered with nonprofits to make a difference throughout high school and undergrad, but she knew that going into DPT, she wanted to do even more. So I asked her the same question as Gabby, why did you take this position? And she said, I've always been interested and involved in volunteering in the North Philadelphia community. In high school and college, I volunteered for Cradle to Grave in a nonprofit called Urban Blazers, but stopped once I graduated. Going into grad school, I knew I wanted to get involved in the community and give back, and believe this position was the perfect opportunity. So what Hannah has done and established for us is she had connections with Temple University Hospital Trauma Department, and so we actually get referrals from them. to our clinic, which is very helpful, very useful, because people who are underinsured or do not have insurance, they are unable to get follow-ups with a PT. But if they come to us, we can take care of them. Temple University medical students, which is very helpful as well, because then they can tell, if they're doing rotations, they can tell patients about us. And they also have a clinic. The medical students run a clinic called Temple Emergency Action Corps, TEAC clinic, and we go there to their different events and we do blood pressure screenings. We tell people about our clinic, as well as we tell people about their clinic. So it kind of works both ways in that respect. Okay, now we're gonna jump to the present, which is now, and I'm gonna introduce you to the first year community outreach coordinator, me. So again, my name is Jada, and I am from North Philadelphia, born and raised. So North Philly is home to me, and I couldn't have gotten to where I am right now without the people who have constantly supported me, and they still do. So I've seen the beauty that comes from North Philadelphia. I see people gather together when they don't have anything in their pockets to get a neighbor a prom dress. I see barbecues, I've seen baby showers, I see it all, but I've also seen the disparities. Infants who haven't been to the doctor since they were born, or older populations who they can't walk because of diabetic neuropathy or stuff like that, which unfortunately is very disheartening, but I'm hoping that more people will start to give back and that will change eventually. So my why is actually because in 2014, my grandmother had a stroke and she was my very best friend. And before having her stroke, I honestly, I couldn't tell you when the last time she went to the doctors. But my grandma did go to church very often, and sometimes I think that maybe if one person would have came to our church and said, I understand what you're doing and how you eat the way you do, and you don't exercise that much, but here's what you could be doing, and here are these little differences that you can make. And if someone would have done blood pressure screenings like I do now, I think things could have been different. Unfortunately, my grandmother did pass away, but I'm hoping that that experience will continue to push me to continue to do what I do now. So now the connections we have has almost tripled. We are now with Voices of Praise Ministries, Lewis Katz School of Medicine, TEAC Clinic that I mentioned earlier, Greater Exodus Baptist Church, Gateway Health, Temple University School of Pharmacy, Temple Hospital Trauma Center and Emergency Department, Temple Hospital Rheumatology Clinic, Temple Hospital Burn Center, People for People Charter School, and BLJ Community Rowing. So all of these institutions help us either spread the word about physical therapy, allow us an opportunity to go there and serve their population, as well as now we can spread the word about them. It's not just a one-way street where for what we do. We have to do it both ways in order for us to see the goals that we're trying to strive to. So the impact we've made so far, sometimes it feels like what we're doing isn't making a difference, but then you have these little moments that tell you, yeah, you are making a difference, keep going. So before I even took on the position, there was a guy who went to Voices of Praise regularly, and his blood pressure was so high, he was in a hypertensive stage that was very severe. But 2 weeks ago, when we took his blood pressure, it was down to 130/82, which is very impressive, and it makes me very happy because he could have lost his life. But now he's working hard because of the education that we gave him to live a healthier life. Instead of us constantly seeking out people and kind of just wandering around Philadelphia trying to figure out where we should go, people now contact us and ask us to come to their events, which is very helpful. I feel like now our services are exactly where they need to be. And education, there's a lot in words. It may go in one ear and out the other, but most of the time people are listening, which is very, very important. Now to the future. So what Gabby, Hannah, and I would like to see happen is we're actually implementing a community advisory board. We would like to attend more annual events. We want to take the North Broad Physical Therapy Clinic into a community center. So the community advisory board will be made up of people within North Philadelphia who hold leadership roles, as well as prioritize and value servicing that area. We are hoping that they will give us advice and guidance so that so that we as students on the board do not feel alone. They can give us feedback about what we're doing in the community and tell us if it's actually working and what we need to do better. Attending more annual events will show consistency and strengthen the established connection that we already have. If you keep showing up, people will notice. And if you're doing what you need to be doing, then like the guy that we saw at Voices of Praise, changes will happen and they'll be for the better. And right now at our clinic, we only provide physical therapy, but we're hoping to get social work involved, speech pathology, occupational therapy, psychology, so that we can treat the entire individual and not just their physical needs. So when I first took this position, I felt like there was nothing I could do to help, but maybe just talk. But I've learned a lot in PT school so far, and even just blood pressure screenings helps a lot. So with the knowledge you have right now, what can you do to help someone in need? I think you guys could do a lot if you just went out of your comfort zone and I'm not saying go up to a stranger and just start doing a blood pressure screening. There's a lot you can do. So just go for it. Thank you.